Hey, welcome to the Everyday Immunity Podcast, a place where we talk about different ways to boost the immune system naturally each and every day. I'm your host, Alicia Rosati of Rosati Nutrition. Hey guys, welcome to episode 2. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited that there's a second episode. I'm so bad at starting projects and not finishing them because I don't know, I just like the excitement of starting something new and I usually never follow through. So I'm really going to try and follow through on this one because this seems like a lot of fun so far and I'm glad that you guys are actually listening. It makes me feel really good knowing that people want to hear what I have to say, want to hear what I potentially know, what I think I know. But yeah, it makes me really, really happy. So a huge thank you to you guys who are listening to this right now. But the real reason that you're here is for me to talk about my experience with adrenal fatigue. So a lot of you guys are probably dealing with adrenal fatigue and you really don't even know it because conventional doctors actually don't recognize this as a legitimate medical condition, which is a little bit of a slap in the face in my opinion because the symptoms are very, very real, very, very annoying, might I add. But yeah, it's a real thing. I've dealt with it. So I'm just going to talk about how I found out I had it, what I did, and what I am currently doing to fix it and manage it, and give you guys some tips and tricks to try out to see maybe if you're dealing with adrenal fatigue, some stress reducing activities just to live a little bit of a more zen life. So you guys kind of heard this story a little bit when I was talking about my personal health journey in the last episode, but kind of to reiterate a little bit and I guess go more into depth. So it was the 9th grade, around the beginning of the year, September, October-ish. And I remember I was always getting to school early, school didn't start until I believe it was 8:45. And I would get there around 8 o'clock because I was smart and I would catch a ride with my dad since he worked really close by. So I didn't have to take the bus and leave the house at the same time anyways. So I would catch a ride, get there really early, which I didn't really mind because it was kind of like a chill time for me, which obviously didn't work out very well because I still had adrenal fatigue in the end. But yeah, I liked having that, and even still to this day, I like having some time in the morning before I really start my day. I find that it does help a lot. So yeah, I would get to school at 8 o'clock and hang out downstairs in the cafeteria or walking the halls with my friends. And then I would head upstairs to my locker, which was on the 2nd floor, right by the stairwell. So I remember I would be coming up the stairs to get to my locker to go to my geography first period class. And my school, the 2nd floor, the stairway was 2 flights of stairs to get to the 2nd floor. So I'd get halfway up and I would be panting, I couldn't breathe. And I would be so freaking dizzy. And I'm yo, I know I don't work out, but what is happening to me right now? And it was awful, honestly. And I remember it would just get progressively worse. And keep in mind, I did eat a breakfast. I had a breakfast every single morning. I could not thrive without breakfast. So I ate. And so I get upstairs and I would just be shaking like crazy, wicked headache, and ringing in my ears. And it would progressively get worse every morning. And even in between classes, throughout the day, but I remember the morning was the worst. So finally one day I'm coming up the stairs and I cannot catch a breath. And now remember, I also have asthma. So I'm am I having an asthma attack because of no freaking reason? Because I'm that out of shape? That's kind of pathetic. But it wasn't that. And I got to the top, I got to my locker and I had to just lean up against my locker and close my eyes and honestly pray that I don't pass out and embarrass myself right now because I started getting tunnel vision and blacking out. I had crazy ringing in my ears, and my hands were shaking uncontrollably, and I still couldn't breathe. So I'm like, yo, I feel like I need food. Like I need something. Maybe I don't know, maybe I didn't eat a big enough breakfast. So I ate a snack and I started to feel a lot better. So I started to do this every morning when I felt like I was about to pass out. And then one morning I did that. And now keep in mind, I would always have a sugary snack because I thought, oh, maybe I'll just get my blood sugar up and I'll be fine, which was a huge mistake. So I remember I would always have a chocolate chip bear paw. Like, I don't know if you guys ever had those growing up, but in grade 9, that was the snack. I love that snack. So yeah, had my bear paw one morning and I get to geography and we're sitting there and I, honest to God, thought I was going to throw up or pass out. And I told my teacher and he's like, school just started. Like, why did you even come in today? I'm like, I was literally fine maybe 20 minutes ago. I was totally okay. And all of a sudden this happened. Like, I don't know why I feel like this, but I need to go home. So I called my dad and he was obviously a little ticked off too. Like, I just dropped you off and I just got to work a little while ago. Like, what's wrong with you? So anyways, he took me home and we decided that we should probably talk about this the next time we go to the naturopath. And at this point, we were regularly seeing the naturopath once a week. And if you guys remember, I mentioned we go to a naturopathic college and I really, really like it there. So yeah, we were going there and I mentioned it to my intern and immediately she's like, this sounds like you have low blood sugar. So next week when you come in, we're going to do a fasting glucose test, like a blood sugar test. And I'm like, this is going to be terrible because I need breakfast to function, but okay. So the next weekend comes and I'm ready to do this blood test and I feel so out of it, so dizzy, so weak. And I'm waiting for this blood test to be over so I can munch on a peanut butter and Nutella sandwich. Like, I just brought out all the sugar because I knew sugar made me feel better. So we go into my appointment, we go get my blood drawn, and wow, was that a terrible experience. So the naturopathic college is all interns. They're 4th year interns that are still learning. They do know a decent amount because they're in their 4th year, but they're still learning at the end of the day. And my intern who was taking my blood was a different intern who was my actual, this is confusing, but so my normal intern that I saw every weekend was Dr. Judy. This other intern was just drawing my blood. I don't know who they were, but they needed to go back to square one. So they're going in my left arm, cannot find this vein. He is digging around, he or she, I think it was a she actually. She's digging around in my arm to get this vein. And keep in mind, I'm like, haven't ate in over 12 hours and I'm like, oh my God, I'm dying. So finally she goes to the right arm to try and find a vein in that arm. And again, can't find the vein and I'm about to pass out. So Dr. Judy sees this and she completely like talked me out of it through like guided meditation, and she's absolutely amazing. 10 out of 10 would recommend her as a naturopath to this day. But yeah, so then the actual doctor takes over and I'm like, thank you, sir. Takes my blood. And then I just munch on my Nutella peanut butter sandwich. And we think that this is going to fix all of my problems because I'm probably just suffering from low blood sugar. So we talk and we had to wait until the following weekend to see what my blood work results said. So we come back and I'm looking into it at home because I'm like, well, what if it's not low blood sugar? Because I do have the symptoms of it, but I don't know. I just don't feel like it is low blood sugar. So what if it's something else? So I'm looking into all these other conditions, and I come across adrenal fatigue. I'm like, what is that? So adrenal fatigue is although it's not like accepted by conventional medical doctors, it is a condition in where your adrenal glands become fatigued from excess stress, chronic stress, your body just always being in that like exhausted, depleted state. And I was really stressed. And I found that, like, looking back on it now, every school year between September and October, I would be getting sick for one reason or another. And I think it's always because I had always put that extra pressure on myself to get like 100 across the board, which I don't know why my parents didn't pressure me to do that, but I did. And I think that chronic stress and that mindset really is what just depleted my adrenal glands. So I'm researching, coming across all these studies and papers and arguments about why adrenal fatigue really is a thing and how it looks exactly like low blood sugar, except for the blood test results, because you don't really have low blood sugar if you have adrenal fatigue. It seems like it with your symptoms, but your blood sugar is actually totally normal. So obviously it's not going to show up in a blood test. So I come in the next weekend and I'm like, listen, Dr. Judy, I know you're probably going to diagnose me with what I actually have, and I know I'm just a 14-year-old kid who thinks she knows it all, but here's all my scientific research that I've done this past week with the condition I think I actually have, and I think I actually have adrenal fatigue. And she's just like stunned, and I don't know if she's amazed or if she's slightly pissed off because I'm 14 and I just diagnosed myself with what she was actually going to diagnose me with. So she's like, whoa. And she goes to call the actual naturopathic doctor, and she is also like, whoa, like you're going to be a student here one day, right? And clearly I'm not. So sorry to let you down. But it was a pretty cool moment. I'm not going to lie. I felt like I knew it all. I was like, yo, I diagnosed myself and I was right, man. Like, that's amazing. So what actually is adrenal fatigue? That's the big question. If it's not an actual accepted medical condition, what really is it? So a little anatomy. Your adrenal glands are these tiny little like cone-shaped glands that sit on top of each of your kidneys. And what they do is they create different hormones in your body, specifically cortisol. And everybody knows cortisol as like the stress hormone, your fight or flight response, and cortisol is what makes you fat. That's why stressing makes you fat. And everybody's heard these arguments. But cortisol is actually pretty important in your blood sugar regulation as well. Everybody knows that when your blood sugar gets too high, your pancreas secretes insulin, which helps bring that down. But what happens if it comes down too far? That's where cortisol comes in, and cortisol raises your blood sugar levels back up, so they kind of work hand in hand to normalize your blood sugar. Well, if your adrenal glands are constantly producing excess cortisol because you're always super stressed, eventually it's going to exhaust and crap out. Just like anything in life that you push to its absolute limits, everything has a limit, right? You could be working out like crazy, pushing yourself, and at the end, you may have stress fracture, right? Or you're studying without sleeping, and then at the end, you have like a mental breakdown. Or you're pushing towards something like anything, even your car, for example. You rev the crap out of your car, and you really push it down the drag strip, and eventually something breaks. So everything does have a limit, and the same thing is true for your adrenal glands. I guess that's how I found out my limit, from always stressing myself out and just putting these really high expectations on myself all the time. Like, I don't know why I did that. I remember every year I was like, yes, it's the start of a new school year. I'm going to have all my different binders and color code everything and organize everything, and pencils for this and pens for that and highlighters for this and these colors only for this. And it was just like, yo, like, chill out. I guess this was my body's way of telling me to chill out. So we realized that as a result of my blood test, I'm not dealing with low blood sugar. I'm dealing with adrenal fatigue and low cortisol. So when you get that, yes, your blood sugar can drop too low, but eventually like your body will normalize it out. It's just when you're in that super depleted state of adrenal fatigue, your body is just exhausted. Like I said, everything has a limit. This was my limit, and your body just cannot do anymore. And this is why I was feeling so weak and so like completely out of it and shaking and on the verge of passing out and just not being able to breathe going up the stairs. That was why, because my body was so overly exhausted from being so stressed out all the time that it couldn't do basic functions like walking up the stairs anymore. So some really common symptoms of adrenal fatigue that a lot of people say that they have, which I also found, was one, constant snacking on sugary and salty foods, because your body needs like that little pick-me-up. And when you get that rise in sugar, your blood sugar does go up, so you start to feel better, which eventually does lead to another blood sugar crash because your insulin comes into play and all of that. When you think you're actually helping yourself, by me, when I was having my bear pot every morning, thinking that I'm giving myself that little boost of energy that I might need, I'm really setting myself up for more failure. Common symptom number 1 is chronic snacking. 2, a lot of people mention, and I noticed this as well, severe dips in my energy levels. So in the morning, it was really hard for me to wake up in the morning, and then I would be like super overactive after that little like dip first thing in the morning where I thought I'd pass out. Then I would get a pick me up of energy around 11 o'clock, and then I would lose all my energy and just want to sleep at around 3 o'clock when I would come home from school. And then I would find at around 10 o'clock at night, when I should be going to bed, I would have a wicked burst of energy and be up until 12 o'clock. That, I don't know why that happens, to be honest with you, but a lot of people say that they have these dips and peaks in their energy levels, and it varies. Usually it's around that same time for most people who are dealing with adrenal fatigue. So if you feel like this is something that you may have, I suggest, or I recommend, writing down these times where you feel like the peak in energy, and then when you feel a big dip in energy, and just see what the patterns are like. It could obviously be a one-off of you're just having a weird day, or you just did something super strenuous and now you're pooped. Of course, that's a possibility. But if this is day to day, you notice that around the same time each day you're crashing or you're getting a burst of energy out of nowhere, it could be your adrenal glands not functioning properly and just being overly exhausted. So now the question is, am I still dealing with adrenal fatigue today? And the answer is sometimes. It's not something that's really just going to go away overnight, and it's not something that you can take a magic pill and fix or anything like that. There are some homeopathic remedies you can take, like glandulars, which is literally like the gland of another animal to help boost your own gland. But the thing is, you have to be really, really careful about that, because if you think that you're experiencing adrenal fatigue and you take a treatment for it when you're not actually experiencing adrenal fatigue, you could end up doing more damage to your adrenals than good, and now you really have a problem. There are tests that can be done. I had a simple blood test done and we ruled out low blood sugar, and we came to the conclusion of adrenal fatigue. There's other tests that can be done to see the exact function of your adrenal glands. So if you think that this is something you're dealing with, definitely talk to your primary care physician or message me. We can go through your symptoms and kind of narrow down what the possibilities could be. So now, what exactly did I do, and I'm still doing, to deal with my adrenal fatigue? That's a really good question. Because like I said, it's not an overnight fix. It's not a quick fix. It's a long-term solution that does take some time to see some results. So first things first, you want to eat food that is low on the glycemic index so that it doesn't spike your blood sugar. Because every time you spike your blood sugar is going to crash back down, and you don't have that cortisol to normalize it. So it's going to take longer for your body to get your blood sugar back to a normal level. So low glycemic index foods are things like complex carbs that are not going to spike your blood sugar. I know a lot of diabetics know what I'm talking about. You guys can do a simple Google search to see the glycemic index of food. So for me, for example, how I was having a bear pot every day, like I mentioned, was literally setting myself up for future failure, because those are loaded with processed sugar, and that's going to spike my blood sugar, and then it's going to come crashing down, and I'm going to feel like crap, which is probably why I felt like crap later on in the day at school. So definitely want to cut out high glycemic index foods. Second thing you want to do is you really want to rest and relax. That's what I did. I totally just took some time, stopped stressing myself out so much, and found something that would help me just calm down and relax after school. When I would be feeling really, really depleted and really weak and exhausted, I would listen to my body and just sit and watch TV. Forget the homework. I can do it later, or I can do it the next morning at school since I'm there so early. But right now, my body wants to rest and relax and vegetate. So that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I did. And I noticed slowly over time that would help me. So we have diet. We also have rest and relax. Then another thing that I didn't really incorporate, but I suggest that you do, is exercising, but not how you think. So a lot of people think that the harder you exercise, the more weight you're going to lose, the more you're going to tone up, the quicker you're going to have that body you've always wanted. And that's not necessarily the case. Again, you're overworking yourself and putting extra stress on your body. You may not be stressed thinking like, oh my God, I have a deadline due at the end of the week and I'm nowhere close to done the project. That's one kind of stress. But when you're over exercising and just overexerting your body, that's a whole nother kind of stress that is still exhausting your adrenal glands. A lot of people don't take that into account because as a society, we just say like, you don't work out hard enough, that's why you're not seeing the results. But that's not always true. The same thing as people who are trying to lose weight. Well, you're not cutting calories enough. That's not true. You could be cutting calories too much and now your metabolism is in the trash. So that's why you're not losing weight. People do things complete to the extreme, and I am the number one culprit of that. I will admit I can't do anything in moderation, which I'm still working on today. It's like 100% or nothing for me. I don't know why that is. That's such a bad habit I picked up. But if you guys have that same habit, stop. I'm telling you right now, just stop. So if you're overstressing yourself and working out like 2-a-days and you don't have the proper nutrition to accompany that, or the proper like stress managing activities to accompany that crazy intense working out, then you're doing your body a disservice and you're probably really taxing your adrenal glands. So take that into consideration. Another thing I did, I started getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep because I was like, I can live on 5 hours. This is amazing. And no, it's not. You think that you could be on top of the world and look how many extra hours in the day you have if you only sleep like 4 or 5 hours. But no, you're doing so much harm to your body that way. It's like it's not worth it in the end. I'm telling you right now, it's not worth it in the end. You need to get minimum 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night. Because think about it. That's the time that you're literally like comatose. Your body is not doing anything. You're not thinking really. You're not talking to somebody. You're not thinking about what you're going to eat. You're not eating. You're not moving around. You're literally just laying there. So that's the time that your body has to repair and to heal itself and to really like detoxify. So why do you want to shorten that time? Like sleep is a great time for your health. And people who get enough sleep tend to generally be healthier. So if you're super stressed out, 1,000%, make sure you're getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep. I know sometimes it's hard, and a lot of people experiencing adrenal fatigue actually wake up in the middle of the night starving. But if you do all of these activities that I'm recommending, 1,000%, you will notice that maybe you won't wake up every night. Maybe you'll wake up closer to the time that you're supposed to be waking up in the morning, or maybe you won't be waking up as hungry. And that's something that I remember happening to me as well. I would wake up earlier than my alarm in the morning, just absolutely starving, as if like I had never eaten all week. Like it was nuts. I'm like, yo, I ate like a few hours ago. I had a snack before bed. Like, why am I so hungry? And that's the adrenal fatigue talking. So definitely, if you can, make sure you're getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night. And then my final recommendation, and something that I still do and still have trouble implementing, to be honest, to this day, is stress reducing activities. So you want to do things that help you calm down, help you relax. And I know I mentioned that before, like rest and like resting and relaxing, but you really want to do a stress reducing activity. So whether that's 20 minutes of meditation a day, writing in your journal, coloring in a coloring book, taking a bath, going for a light walk, something, an actual activity, as opposed to just sitting there and vegetating. You want to do an actual activity that is going to help you calm down, reflect on your day, and really just like chill out. Like, we don't chill out enough as a society. And like I said, I'm number one culprit for that. It's absolutely terrible, but it's something that we really need to do. And during this whole coronavirus time, like I hate using a pandemic to push another agenda, and I'm not trying to at all, but I'm trying to take out the good in the bad is what I'm trying to do. And what I can see is, as a society, we have just been so normalized and used to go, 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 go. Work harder, work more hours, get that overtime, work out twice a day, or don't sleep and wake up super early because you have more hours in the day. Just go and be extreme. And that's terrible. That is so terrible. Like, look what happens. Our immune systems are completely shot. Our adrenal glands are so overly exhausted. We've forgotten how to take care of ourselves because go, go, go. We have to chase the money. We have to chase the job. We have to chase the look that people look up to and people are jealous of, like I succeeded. I got the job. I got the salary. I got the car. Like, no, those things are not important, because what's going to happen in the end is you're going to tax your body. And then how do you even enjoy that? All those things that you worked so hard for, how do you enjoy that? You can't. If your health is not up to par, you can't enjoy anything in this life. That's my opinion. That may sound extreme, but it's my opinion. If you don't have your health, what really do you have? Right? So that's my little takeaway. That's really my experience with adrenal fatigue. And I did mention that I still deal with it to this day. I can feel when my body is being overstressed because, again, I'm a workaholic. I know I just gave that whole rant about go, 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 and I'm the worst person for it. I know I need to listen to myself, and I'm working on it, so don't come after me. But it's so true. Like, I really push myself way too hard, and I can feel it. I've gotten sick so many times from being overstressed. Like, adrenal fatigue was just the beginning for me. But as terrible as it is, I guess I never learned my lesson, but I'm slowly starting to learn now that when I push myself too hard, my body doesn't like it. It can't function. So I need to calm down. I need to chill out. And that's what I still try to incorporate today. I've become so in tune with my body that I can feel when I'm super stressed. And that's when I say to myself, okay, need to take a step back. Maybe today we won't work for 14 hours a day. We'll maybe work for 10, So take it in strides. That's my recommendation and my advice to you guys is just chill out a little bit, a low glycemic index diet, and light exercise and stress reducing activities. Meditate, write in a journal, do something. But yeah, so I think that's enough of me ranting about chilling out and adrenal fatigue. So until next time, guys, this has been your host, Alicia Rosati. Catch you in the next one.